Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And we are 2 weeks through the NFL season, and each and every week I will be doing something I like to call the Fantasy Stars who were mostly unowned. In these, I will be taking a look at one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, and one tight end that were the highest scoring at their positions, despite being owned in less than 25% of ESPN fantasy football leagues. So let's take a look at the week 2 fantasy stars who are mostly unowned, starting at quarterback with Joe Flacco. Flacco was owned in just 1.2% of leagues entering week 2, had 307 passing yards with 4 passing touchdowns in their comeback victory over the Cleveland Browns. Absolutely incredible comeback, scoring 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes to secure the victory. This was actually the first time since December 4th, 2016, that Flacco threw 4 touchdown passes in a game. He will probably start one more game, and Zach Wilson is expected to come back in week 4. One of the running backs is Darrell Williams of the Arizona Cardinals, owned in 3.7% of leagues entering week 2. Williams ran for 55 yards and a rushing score in the week 2 comeback victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. James Conner left the game with an ankle injury, and Williams kind of split time with Benjamin in the backfield. Williams is the more likely of the two, though, to get the goal line touches. So if James Conner were to miss week 3, Darrell Williams could definitely be a guy to pick up for at least 1 week. The other running back is Jerick McKinnon of the Kansas City Chiefs, was owned in 13.6% of ESPN fantasy leagues entering week 2. Had just 12 rushing yards and just 2 catches for 4 yards, but one of those receptions went for a touchdown. McKinnon is the backup to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he did receive 40. He was on the field for 47% of the snaps in week 2, but did just receive 6 touches. Made it clear, though, that he is still the number 1 backup behind Edwards-Helaire, and Isaiah Pacheco is the third banana in the running back depth chart. 2 wide receivers, starting with Nelson Agholor of the New England Patriots. He was owned in just 0.6% of ESPN fantasy leagues entering week 2. Finished with 6 catches for 110 yards and a receiving score in the Patriots' victory over the Steelers. Through 2 games, his 11 targets are second on the team to just Jacoby Myers with 19. We heard a lot in preseason and the offseason how Mac Jones was starting to build a rapport with Nelson Agholor, and it has shown, especially during week 2. The other wide receiver is Noah Brown, the Dallas Cowboys, owned in just 0.8% of ESPN leagues entering week 2. Cooper Rush got the start with Dak Prescott out. Brown finished with 5 catches for 91 yards and a score. Will he be able to continue that? Whether he can is unclear, as Michael Gallup could be returning from his torn ACL in week 3 Monday Night Football against the New York Giants. And the tight end is Logan Thomas of the Washington Commanders, was owned in 17.8% of ESPN fantasy leagues entering week 2. Thomas finished the game with 3 catches for 37 yards and a score. Through 2 games, he has been targeted 11 times. Carson Wentz has been putting up a lot of passing yards early on in the season. While he missed most of last season, played in just 6 games, Thomas, it was just 2020 when he finished with 72 catches for 670 yards and 6 scores. So it could definitely be a viable fantasy tight end for the remainder of the season. So there you have it, the week 2 fantasy stars who were mostly unowned. Which of these guys do you think could play a valuable role later in the season? Definitely could see Agholor and Thomas being fantasy relevant for the majority of the rest of the season. But stay tuned for that. Week 3, we will take a look at another quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end that were owned in less than 25% of ESPN leagues and excel. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.